Welcome to CBSE Class 10, Poem 9 from the book First Flight. Today's poem is Fog by Carl Sandburg. Carl August Sandburg was an American poet, biographer, journalist and an editor. He was born on 6th of January 1878, Galesburg, Illinois, United States. He died on 22nd of July 1967, Flat Rock, North Carolina, United States. Some of his major works are Chicago Poems published in the year 1916, Cornhuskers published in the year 1918, The People, Yes, published in the year 1936, the children's classic Rutabaga Stories published in the year 1922, and his comprehensive biography Abraham Lincoln, The War Years. He got a number of awards. He won 3 Pulitzer Prizes, 2 for his poetry and 1 for his biography of Abraham Lincoln, which is Abraham Lincoln, The War Years. This is all about a little information about Carl Sandburg. Let's see the introduction to the poem. Fog is a famous short free verse poem by American author Carl Sandburg. It was first published in his 1916 collection Chicago Poems. The poem uses a concise imagistic style, often called an American haiku, to create an extended metaphor comparing the silent arrival and departure of fog over a harbor and city to a silent cat. So this is a metaphorical poem. Fog, and it is free verse. There is no particular rhyming pattern. It is imaginistic. You read and you as if you view it. It has visual effect on the reader, and it's a metaphor comparing the silent arrival and departure of fog over a harbor and city to a cat, and it was published in his 1916 collection Chicago Poems. This is all about the introduction to the poem. Let's see the theme or the central idea of the poem Fog. The theme of Carl Sandburg's poem Fog centers on the silent, mysterious and transient nature of the environment, using a cat metaphor to illustrate how nature arrives, pauses and departs unnoticed. It highlights the quiet power of natural phenomena to transform a bustling city into a still, surreal space, reflecting the fleeting, unpredictable and graceful aspects of life. In simple words, fog centers, or it metaphorically represents the silent, mysterious and transient nature of environment. So the calm nature and how the nature changes, and it arrives like a cat. It pauses, that is stays for a moment, and it leaves, as it is in case of a cat. So it shows changes a bustling city into a still, surreal space. So the poem Fog creates a sense of calmness and mystery in nature. This is the theme. It illustrates how nature arrives, pauses and departs unnoticed. That is, focuses on the silent, mysterious and transient nature of the environment. Now let us see the poem Fog by Carl Sandburg. The fog comes on little cat feet. It sits looking over harbor and city on silent haunches and then moves on. Let's see again. Let's read it. Read with me. The fog comes on little cat feet. It sits looking over harbor and city on silent haunches and then moves on. This is the poem. Now, let's see the explanation. You can see it's a poem and it is like a story. See, the fog comes on little cat feet. It sits looking over harbor and city on silent haunches and then moves on. So see, the fog comes on little cat feet. Sandburg here has compared fog to the cat. The arrival of fog to that of a cat. So the poem is metaphorical. The poem is metaphorical. See, let's take the example of a cat. A cat arrives always silently, does its work and leaves without much noise. That is the activity of a cat. Now fog is compared to a cat. Fog is here personified as well. For example, fog comes. Now fog is inhuman, inanimate and is given human qualities. The poet says the fog comes on little cat feet. So the fog arrives like a cat. It sits looking over harbor and city on silent haunches and then moves on. So it sits looking over harbor and city. That is, it comes, it stays there. It spreads slowly over the harbor and city. It covers the whole area and sits on silent haunches. That is, it stays for some time, takes a pause and then moves on. So then it departs after completion of its task. See, this is the transient nature of the environment. It comes and it is very silent without much noise, as it happens in case of a cat. So the fog comes on little cat feet. The fog comes silently without any noise. It shows the calmness. Fog is nothing but a natural phenomenon, right? It is natural. We don't create it. It's a product of nature. Fog is it's just a cloud, a thick cloud of tiny water droplets. You see, and it is suspended in the air. And if you touch it, it feels moist. And when fog combines with mist, with smoke, it creates smog, which is a pollutant, remember. So fog is nothing but the watery substance present in the air, the vapor form. You touch, you can feel the moisture. Fog comes, it is natural, it comes and stays for some times, does its work, spreads over the city slowly. You don't find it all of a sudden. It comes slowly and then stays there for some time and it moves on. That is, it departs. This poem has a number of poetic devices which we will continue. We will see as we continue. So see, these are a few poetic devices that the poem has. For example, let us first see the metaphor. Fog is compared to a cat when it says it comes on little cat feet. This metaphor highlights the silent, stealthy and calm nature of the fog as it arrives, watches over the harbor and city and then quietly moves on like a cat. That is, it comes, it takes a pause, it stays and then moves on, it departs. This is the transient nature. Then the rhyming scheme, there is no particular rhyming scheme, it's in free verse. There's an example of enjambment in the poem. See, where a line or a sentence continues to the next without any pause. It sits looking over harbor and city. See, there is nothing and then moves on from that line till the last. You don't find any punctuation mark at the end of the sentence. Now, product of personification, where fog has been personified. It is given human-like characteristics. For example, fog comes. Fog is not a person, but it comes. It sits, looks over harbor and city, as though it is conscious of observing the world, as though it is a person who's coming, sitting and then looking over the city. Imagery, the fog or the poem uses sensory images to evoke a sense of quietness and stillness, emphasizing the way fog envelops the space around it. So as you read the poem, you can visualize the events happening. It provides a sense of quietness, stillness. It comes slowly, sits over and then looks over the harbor and the city. So these you, as if you can visualize with your five senses, emphasizes the way fog envelops or covers the space around it. So imagery. And then yes, some descriptions like see, description of the harbor, city evokes clear mental pictures of the setting where the fog appears, enhancing the reader's visualization. Now you have an example of consonants, repetition of the k and t sounds in the phrase. For example, comes on little cat feet. See, the k sound gets repeated and the t, which emphasizes the stealthy cat-like nature of the fog's arrival. You also have symbolism. Fog here symbolizes confusion, mystery, or the idea of being lost or isolated. It's also a transient presence, neither permanent nor constant. So this fog stands or symbolizes the mysterious nature of environment. These are a few poetic devices which are very important. We already discussed the poetic devices. You can see here some meanings of fog, a thick cloud of tiny water droplets present in the atmosphere, especially in winter you find it. Then you have harbor, which is a port or dock. Then see, this is what sitting on haunches means, when you sit with your knees bent. Now let us see some of the questions that follow. What does Sandburg think the fog is like? The fog is compared to a cat, so it is like a cat. How does the fog comes? So it comes on silent cat feet, silently like a cat on its small feet. What does it in the third line refer to? So in the poem, it sits looking. So it sits looking. It is personified and it is nothing but it is the fog, which is compared to a cat. Now the fourth question, does the poet actually say that the fog is like a cat? Find three things that tell us that the fog is like a cat. So do you think the poet actually say that the fog is like a cat, or is it a comparison? And if it is a comparison, what are the three qualities of a cat that are mentioned in the poem? The answer is left to you. Go through the poem, try to understand. The explanation I think is very clear, so you can answer the question. If you have any doubts, you can always use the comment section, like, subscribe and share for more such videos on chapters. Thank you.